Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Convo. Today we're digging into our old podcast to bring you a special episode of our review of Season 1 of Netflix's Daredevil series, the true one live action version of Daredevil. Ben Affleck?
Vic, the man without fear, Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil. So we watched the whole series. I think I know I binge watched it. I watched it like in over a span of like 2 days. I saw the entire series, and I think it took you almost
It took me almost about 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
But man, what a series! What a series! Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the pilot episode. From the pilot episode, the first thing obviously that you see from a series is the opening credits. And a lot of people just kind of look away at the opening credits, but for some reason, like, I saw the opening credits, and not only did visually it look good, but I got a good feeling of what was in store. Because usually when you see a superhero TV show or a superhero movie, they always do like fast cuts of like the suit or the person or like his weapons, and that's pretty much it. But the first thing that you see is the blind statue of Justice. So right off the bat, I was like, oh, okay, maybe they might focus on the law part of Matt Murdock, the Daredevil story, which is excellent because that is a big part of the Daredevil story. And then the very next scene was the buildings and the bridge of Brooklyn and New York. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. So that's another big part of the Daredevil story is Hell's Kitchen, New York City. And then finally they started showing, the silhouette of Daredevil and how eventually he'll look. And it was all in this cool, like, satin blood type thing. And right off the bat, I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool opening title sequence.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a telltale tale because, of course, as you watch most of the series, he's not in that costume to the very end.
Right.
So it showing him at the end with that costume, it's like, well, I know at one point he's going to put that on. And they let you, think that, okay, everything is going to go on now just to build up to that. And it went ahead and, they were focusing about the law a lot during the series.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they were focusing on everything based off in Brooklyn. So I felt like that wasn't misleading at all. It was right on money.
Right, and sometimes a lot, and that's the thing too. A lot of those, you'll get a title sequence with all these cool stuff, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see this in the show. And then you don't get none of that. That's all they just put it in the title sequence, and that's it. But Daredevil definitely did not disappoint with what they showed in that opening sequence, and it even carried over to the first scene that you see in the pilot episode. Like for me, when I saw that like first scene in the pilot episode, it had such a New York feel to it, just by the fact of like you see the cabs, you see like everybody there, there's an accident that's happening. So it just, I don't know, it was one of those things that I'm like, man, they got a good vibe. Obviously they shot it in New York, so it helps when you actually do shoot in New York and not somewhere else. But you got that like New York vibe, and you kind of got a gist of like they're smart enough to know that New York has to play a character in this series, especially with Matt Murdock being in Hell's Kitchen and being in New York. Like you have to have New York as a central character, if you will, in the series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the three main characters to me in this series was Daredevil, or A.K.A. Matt Murdock.
Yeah,
Wilson Fisk, A.K.A. Kingpin.
definitely.
And the third one was New York.
Yep.
Because everything revolved around it.
Yep.
Everybody was motivated by the city and what's going on in the city.
Yep.
Those two characters, which were the two main characters in that series.
Yep.
So even all the other characters that were situated in the city, they were all affected by what was going on. So I like the fact that no matter what episode you saw, the focal point was Brooklyn. It was New York. Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be, because in the comic books, that's what they go ahead and they make it about.
Yeah.
It's about making it all about, this is my sector, this is my area of interest, is my, where I'm going to protect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and only focus on this. And they made it all about that. Instead of, putting him in like, bring him to Upper East Side, Upper West Side, or Chelsea area, or going to like where the Statue of Liberty is, or going to the Empire State Building.
Matt Murdock living in the Upper West Side, like in the fancy, schmancy building. Yeah, no.
And it could easily been
It could have been that. They could have changed it.
It could
They coulda
easily been
changed
that
it.
because it's
Yeah.
like, most of these shows, that's what they do. It's like, we're going to have a New York show
Yeah.
and we're going to pay New York dollars to be here. So let's go ahead and let's make it about like the main areas in New York, the
Manhattan, Madison
touristy areas that
Avenue.
everybody's going to identify with.
Yeah.
They were like, look, New York is more than just Manhattan.
Mhm.
New York's just more than those areas. This is where this kid's from. He's growing up. He wants to protect this one particular area. Let's go ahead and let's show only really that.
And I kind of like that about the series itself because it's just like you said, like we kind of had the billionaire playboy, Tony Stark, so we don't need another story like that. We had the guy from another realm, Thor. We don't, so we never really had a gritty kind of, not underdog, but yes, in a way, underdog in a city that's very corrupt. So there was a lot of things that were so fresh and so new that I liked because it was like, this is a superhero TV show, but it's more than just that. It's more than just about that, So I kind of like that. I like that it was definitely it played with the grittiness of the city as well.
And it also played with the current events that's happening in the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
I really believe also one of the reasons why they also picked this character and they picked focusing on Brooklyn, because where did most of those attacks happen during that Avengers film?
New York.
It happened in like the downtown Manhattan area,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was trash. So Daredevil can't be going in and scaling rooftops and stuff that don't exist anymore
Right.
because of that.
Right.
So it makes sense. It's like, look, we acknowledge that stuff from that, from that world happened here, and we're part of that world.
Yeah.
And this is just another storyline of what's ongoing chapter
Absolutely.
in the Marvel universe.
Yep.
So let's not go ahead and explain why is this still intact. Let's just really focus on this, because this is what this hero's about anyway.
Yep.
Mind you, this guy's climbing rooftops, he's jumping, he's free running, he's doing his parkour thing. He's not. He doesn't get around with web slingers. He doesn't fly.
He doesn't fly. Yeah.
He doesn't have like a cool motorcycle or whatever.
That's true too.
So he's gonna be staying in his area.
Right.
Because he's gonna be tired. Going over it. He has to go home.
It's a lot of blocks to kind of
Yeah.
run away from. Yeah.
So I like the fact because of the character's limitations, it's set up for what this series was gonna be about.
Yeah. It definitely did set it up. And speaking of setting up, right away when we actually get future Matt Murdock, let's talk about that too. I like the fact that they gave you like they put like the pivotal point of him being blind, which was the first shot that we got. Okay.
With his father.
With his father.
They got that. He's a little kid. They explain this is how he got blind, and this is what's gonna give him his powers. And then they do the opening credits. Then you see Matt Murdock, not Daredevil, but Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
And what's he doing? Talking a confessional to his priest, which was cool because like I didn't know they were gonna go ahead and take that one aspect of Daredevil of Matt Murdock,
Yeah.
which would be his religious ties, which this character has a lot of conflict and he's got a lot of ties to religion.
Yeah.
His upbringing was Catholic, and sometimes a lot of these shows, a lot of these series, a lot of these movies, they like to take away some of the elements of what makes a character that.
Right.
And being Catholic is a big part of this guy's, moral fiber.
Yeah.
He has these conflicts because he's doing a thing that requires him to do a very unreligious, Catholic, like thing. But at the same time, his morals is what, has him doing these things in the first place.
Right.
So I like the fact that they went ahead and did that. And also with that scene, it was cool because now you first see this actor who's playing Daredevil. It's a very powerful scene.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's like this dude handled it so well. I was like, man, this guy looks like he's trying to go for the Emmy or what? Like he's crying already for the first scene. He's getting emotional.
Angry, yeah.
And I was like, this guy can act.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know where he's been. What he's done
What he's
before
done before,
this.
yeah.
But
he's just put himself on the map right
he's
now.
good,
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the actor playing him is that, for me, I'm always a purist, a traditionalist when it comes to these characters. I always feel like if you're gonna cast for a character, you got like thousands upon thousands of actors
Yeah.
and you got these comic book characters, and there should be an actor who should be able to fit that mold
Right.
of look, who could act like him. Now he didn't really 100% look like Daredevil because he didn't have that ginger
red hair.
hair, the red hair
Yeah.
that's like synonymous with Daredevil.
Yeah.
But but he was such a good actor, it made me forget. And that's one thing I like. It's like I didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, first off, besides the hair, he looked like him,
Yeah.
and he had the body of him.
Yeah.
Because you know, like, in that first episode, I think they show him at one point without a shirt,
Shirt.
which is like a common thing they do now for like these comic books
Equal
or these,
opportunity.
yeah, these action flicks and stuff, and these action series. You know, it's a little eye candy for the ladies.
Ladies,
you know?
yeah.
Like, you know, but I appreciated that too, because I got to see him not being like what some of these other guys, like Hugh Jackman,
Right.
or the new Superman, or some of these other guys who playing these characters who are
over
like really
bulky.
big,
Yeah.
and they trying to be like Thor and the Hulk. He was a lean out Daredevil, which is way he's supposed to be,
Right.
because he's Daredevil. He's a martial artist. His skills are that of like a ninja.
He's supposed to be agile. He's supposed to be more
Yeah.
agile than
He's
buff.
jumping off roofs. He's free running. He's a parkour guy.
He can't
You
do that
look
if
at
he
these
can't even-
parkour guys now, and then like Ninja Warrior, they're a lean person because now they have to go ahead and pick up their own body weight. They have to move that around.
It's hard to be a parkour person if you can hardly pick up your arms because they're just too buff. Like
Yeah.
you're just like, I can't reach the roof. I'm gonna fall now.
Yeah, not to mention muscle tires you out after a while.
Yeah.
So I like the fact they made him lean. So I was very impressed about like their minor details when it came to this, that they got it all on point.
Yeah.
And another thing I liked about when it came to the actor playing him and what they did with Matt Murdock
Mm.
is his connections to some of the other characters.
Right.
Because then in the same episode, I think the first character they introduced after the priest is
Foggy, his best friend. Yeah.
Foggy Nelson.
Yeah.
And you start seeing them going back and forth, like
Yeah.
some of their banter, like you see how they're flowing, and I'm like, well, yeah, like you got, if you never read the comic book, you got from that right there. But these guys been friends for a while.
For a long time. Yeah.
Like they're not just going in business together. There's a reason why they're going in business together.
Right.
So it gave you that, you know.
And I liked how you went from such a powerful and emotional scene, and then the very next scene is like a lighthearted, two friends talking. So it kind of showed you like, hey, yeah, this show is serious, but this is also, there's also light in this situation. There's all, to me, I think it even made the friendship stand out more to have that follow that scene, because now it's like you went from something very emotional to like, oh, this is serious. Like these are really close friends, and they're wanting to do right, because that was their whole thing. Their whole talk was about like, we're gonna do right in the Hell's Kitchen. We're gonna be the good lawyers that the city needs. So you got a lot from that scene. And I like the actor that they got playing Foggy. I'll always remember him as Fulton from Mighty Ducks. Always remember the Mighty Ducks. But I'm glad. I mean, ever since Mighty Ducks, it could have pigeonholed him as the silent, rough guy. But ever since then, he's always been playing like different types of roles, and he's a good actor. Like he's been in some movies. Yeah, I mean, he's been in some questionable movies, but I've always thought that he was a good actor, and definitely he, throughout this series, we can definitely talk about how his character, is not only the you can kind of say he's like the comic relief in a way, but there were some episodes towards the end that really showed his range. Like he's just not the happy-go-lucky character. There's more to him to just being that.
Well, he's definitely a phenomenal actor. I mean, he reminds me like of a young Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, God rest his soul and stuff. But this kid probably is gonna luck out with that, because now the roles he was gonna get
Could
go to him, and
Yeah. I
I think this series is gonna. I mean, this series already has shown him in a lot of depth, because he's not just a funny guy.
Right.
Because he's been in these situations, and in a lot of the other films he's been in, you've seen him like he has a lot of range when it comes to his acting.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a guy to look out for, not just in this series, but also like in general.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the one thing that I have to compliment whoever the casting director is for the show, because every single person that they picked for this show was a phenomenal actor. Like, even if they had small roles, it was like every person did such a great job on that show. Even the Claire, I'm sorry, not the Karen character. She was introduced in the pilot episode, and same thing. Like the first thing you see is like her hand with a knife, all bloody. She's crying. She's flipping out, and it was just like whoa. And I think that was another good testament of them showing you of how uh, graphic the show was gonna be, because usually if this show would have been on, like, this show had to have been on either on Netflix, HBO, or Showtime, because they would have toned down the violence if this was on like ABC, because Disney owns ABC, so it would have been on ABC. It wouldn't have been on another channel. Um, so it was great. It was great to see that they had this like violence to it, just to show like, hey, this is how violent this city is. This is how messed up the city is. And I kind of feel like they did it in a way where it wasn't like just to show you violence. Like some movies, they're just like, oh, we're just gonna show blood and guts just because we want to do it for shock value. Like this wasn't for shock value in the way of just like to throw it away. It was like, no, this is to show you how messed up Hell's Kitchen is, and how messed up it can be to live there, and why you need Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely right there, set up at, look, this is a special kind of area of interest, a special kind of city.
Yeah.
It's going to require a special kind of hero.
Yeah.
And it has to be a hero that could go ahead and handle that kind of violence, which is what he's about.
Especially if it's the mob. I mean, when you hear of mobs and all that stuff, is like you need that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going up against the Russian mafia. He's going against the triads, the Yakuza. I mean, this guy's all over the place. He's going up against the creme de la creme when it comes to the crime world.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the fact that they didn't dumb down just for the sake of going ahead and trying to make it like a PG-13 or
Right.
a PG version of a comic book series.
Yeah.
They went ahead and they got the right network that could go ahead and really have no limits to what they could show you.
Yep.
And they really went out there and they flourished with that, because it's like you said, it's like if it wasn't on Netflix, it had to be on HBO or something.
Yeah.
Because even like if you put it on like FX or Spike or whatever else, that they do push the envelope when it comes to shows, but they only go they can only go so far.
Yeah.
But it needs to be on a show like that not only can they push the envelope,
Yeah.
but they're gonna go ahead and give you great quality stuff. And I felt like when I first heard that this was going on Netflix, and I was just thinking to myself like, well, why?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Because like they're like when I was like, Netflix is getting into this. I was like, man, I hope they did good with it.
Yeah.
I really do. But man, they did it up. I give them props on that.
They
did
good.
it up.
They followed the story. Man, I'm just so surprised at how good the show is. But yeah, going back to the characters, is like, the Karen character could have easily been a throwaway character. And again, it goes back to like the casting and the amount of detail that was put to every character. Like every character that you see in this show serves a purpose. Even if they're a thug, even if they're whatever, like every character serves a purpose. And Karen's character could have easily been the pretty girl who's their first case, and that's it. She's gone. That's it. But you later see that she's kind of the driving force of Matt Murdock, and Fisk getting exposed. She's like egging Matt to realize who Wilson Fisk really is, and she's really giving trouble to Wilson Fisk to the point where he's just like, this girl's a problem. She's definitely a problem. So I like the fact that they used her in a way where it wasn't just like she's the damsel in distress.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried. I was like, because the next episode, I don't think they did anything with her character, but like how to work there.
Yeah.
Then the following episode, you see her storyline continue,
Right.
and it continued throughout. And I was like, good, because
Yeah.
like you don't want to just have that one scenario and they don't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
'Cause this
Which
is
a
big.
lot of shows do too, where it's just like they have a good idea and you're like, oh man, they should have continued with that, and then it's just like, oh, whatever, we'll move on to something else.
So I was happy about the fact that they not only continue with her storyline, but it was like a big part of what the whole series was about.
And she introduced us to the Ben character, who you then saw the kind of the media side of that world. He's the old timer reporter. I know the actor. I don't know him by name, but I know I've seen him before in other films and other TV shows, and he's a really good actor. But but then yeah, you get to see like the media side of it. Like what is it like to be a reporter in that city? What is it like to talk about the mafia? And you can tell like his character had a past, talking to the mafia and exposing the mafia. I mean, even that
And
first
help
scene
bringing them down.
and help bringing them down, and
Yeah.
even that and not only that, that scene that he had with that guy where the guy's like things change. Before what was he? He's like before.
Yeah, he said before this, used to kill a guy. I mean, you would send flowers to his wife, and now when you kill a guy, you have to kill his wife too. So it's like he's already like the mafia guys were already telling this guy like things have changed. Is criminals are more violent now,
Yeah,
which makes sense for Daredevil to come out right now because now the city really needs
it
him.
really
Now they
needs
need
him,
this
yeah.
hero
Yeah.
because now these criminal elements they don't have any boundaries. They have no limits.
Yep.
They'll kill whoever.
Yep.
They'll victimize whoever for whatever gain they want.
Yep.
So now it requires a Daredevil to appear.
You need him now because things have gotten so crazy, and that was great too because then that kind of introduced like the key players for this season of that group of who's kind of trying to take over Hell's Kitchen. Like it introduced Madame Gao, who was part of the triads,
yeah.
and she was more of like the drug part of the that little group. And then you had the Russians who were kind of in charge of
like trafficking.
the drugs between, and then you had the money man who was I think Leslie was his name. Leland, I'm
Leland,
sorry,
yeah.
Leland. Then you had like he's like the Wall Street, he's kind of like business uppity guy, and then
You had Noble.
and then
for
you had
the-
Noble
for
with
the,
for the Yakuza.
Yakuza, yeah.
Yeah. And then of course Kingpin, which was great because like first they introduced his right hand man, which again another great actor. I feel like he was so calm yet so menacing in a way. Who was Wesley? Wesley was his right hand man, and it was so cool how they didn't even give you Kingpin right away. Like they talked about we don't say his name, and I felt like that was a cool way to kind of like comic book fans will know who he's talking about. People who really haven't watched it, they're kind of interested. Like, oh, who's this guy? Who's it talking about?
Because they didn't even call him Kingpin throughout the whole series. They just called him by his name, Wilson
Wilson
Fisk.
Fisk. Yep.
But everybody, like you said, if you read the comic books, if you went ahead and seen the animated series with Spider-Man, you know that Kingpin is a big crime. Like he's the top of the food chain crime boss.
Yeah.
So it was cool that the fact that they never even called him that. Yeah. But meanwhile, this is his other this is his real identity is being that guy.
Right.
I like that.
And Wesley's character was cool when they even showed him before that when he went up to the guy in the middle of the street and he was just like, hey, you own somebody money. He's like, I told you I pay. And then like he has his daughter, Skyped or whatever on a laptop, and then you're just like, whoa, like, this is definitely going somewhere.
It's not even just that. It's the way he did it is like the guy owed some other guy money, which was a mafia guy.
Yeah.
Then he was like, no, we bought all those. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't owe them money. You owe us money. And owing us money is worse than owing them money.
Yeah.
You can't just blow us off.
You can't blow us off. You might have
you know?
blown off the other guy, but this is a different situation.
You pay now. But now they didn't even, the crazy thing about them and their organization, they didn't even want money.
Right. They just want favors. Which is crazy. Because that's the great thing about it. Like, it's all about corruption. Like, how corrupt they are and how they're like, we don't need money. We're fine. We're construction workers. We're drug dealers. Like, we're good with money. We want people to pay us with favors. And that's just like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely some next level, stuff right there.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely were operating on a different page. And, like I said, once again, it goes back to why they need someone like Daredevil, who's a different kind of hero, who's operating on a different page.
Yep.
Could take it to these guys and really give them a run for their money.
Especially in how organized they are, because it's like you have like your run and gun, like you have your criminals, right? But these are people who are like intellectual, they're leaders. They're so trying to make the most out of the corruption that's in that city that you need a Daredevil to fight them as well. And they even showed the street thug because they had the guy, what was his name, that was selling the arms and
like,
selling the girls in the beginning.
Carrick or something like that?
I forgot his name. I think it was like Troy or.
I'm not
I
sure,
don't
but
remember his
I know
name.
you're talking about. Yeah, he was over there. He was doing his thing, and you think at one point he's just working for this guy. And you find out that no, he could play both sides
He
of the
has
fence.
he
You know?
has
So
his
it's
own
like
thing
even
going.
the criminals are kind of like doing their own thing within their own realm.
Yep.
It's just like all these power struggles, all these power plays. Like it's real unique to see like a series like this. Because when I'm watching this, it reminds me so much of like watching a Law and Order episode.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like you're watching maybe something like The Wire.
Yeah.
You know, because you're getting the political aspect of it, but you're getting the law. But then you go ahead and you add like the action with the martial arts scenes.
Yeah.
You know, now you got like some of that Tony Jaa type of, you know, fighting choreographing going on. And you add all that up, it's a good combination.
It's like you're getting three shows in one show, and they're all executed very well.
Yeah, it's like, you know, imagine you watching Law and Order and you get upset because now the criminal got away because they got a loophole in the system. But now this guy's like, okay, cool. Now I couldn't get you this way, but I'm gonna get you this
like
way.
that.
You
Yep.
know, I'm gonna go ahead and smash you up.
Yep.
So, you know, I like that. You know, like this was definitely a unique, you know, series.
Yep.
And like the evolution of it, like every episode they kept that same kind of tempo,
Yeah.
that same kind of pace,
Mm-hmm.
and they never like went away from that.
Yeah.
You know, and the whole like I guess you could say the tone of the series is like it was gritty throughout.
Definitely gritty. Definitely gritty. Definitely, you know, it had its moments where you're just like, man, like this is, you know, it was either through the violence or through the corruption or
Yeah,
through just the
it's-
acting, the drama of it, of just like how people were getting affected by it. You know, it was.
And they did it in a different way. Like normally you'll see like a Batman or whatever, and they mainly do those scenes all at night.
Yeah.
With this, when he was Matt Murdock, he was always during the day, and Daredevil at night.
Yeah.
So it's like you still had that grittiness during the day.
During the day, yeah.
They could be having a conversation at Central Park or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Someone gets killed.
And yes, and something's going down. Like it was always something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I like the fact that they always maintain that pace.
Yeah. And I like the character evolution of a lot of the characters, you know. Characters just didn't stay the same throughout the whole series. Like everybody had like an arc, a story arc. You know, and the fact that even some characters were introducing stuff that we'll see in the Luke Cage series, in the Iron Fist series, in the Jessica Jones series. Like they Marvel's very good at building the universe of characters, you know, because they easily could have just said, okay, Daredevil, we'll worry just about Daredevil and we won't include, you know, the other stuff that are happening. But instead, you know, you had the Madame Gal, you had the new Nobu, you had, you know, the street level, you know, guy who's selling the arms and is like he's just there working with the cops and working with other people.
And you also had the conflict with like Vladimir and Sergei, the Russians, going up against, you know, trying to be the top dog in
Yeah.
like an overcrowded city.
Yep.
You know, that there's like almost no room for, or somebody has to go like out that way.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I like that. Like there was a lot of it wasn't just good guy fighting good guy. It was like bad guy trying to outmaneuver bad guy as well,
Yeah.
and good guy trying to keep up.
Yeah.
So I like that. You know, it was definitely unique. You know, and the other thing too I liked about it is that it being New York and it being such a intricate character in the series.
Yeah.
Some of these shows, whenever they're doing like a New York show, it won't feel New York because of the people they have in it.
Right.
With this, they kept it very diverse.
Yes. Yes. Big thing.
It's like, look, we're in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has a big Russian
Russian,
community,
yeah.
especially like in the Brighton Beach area. So we're gonna have the Russians, you
Mhm.
know, and you know, Brooklyn not that being far from where Chinatown is, you know, over the bridge.
It's gonna have
We're
Chinese
gonna
people.
have, you know, Chinese with the triads and Japanese, you know, and you had a lot of Hispanic people in it.
Yep.
It's like it was like they gave you a blending.
Which is New York. I mean, that's New York. New York is not just one race. It's not just one type of person. It's everything. You know, from the rich guy to the blue collar guy to the white guy to the black guy to the Spanish guy, Muslim guy, whatever. It's all there in New York, and I felt like the series tried to stay true to that being New York City. It was great. I mean, as far as the actors and the characters, I mean, I know we're leaving one person out, but I feel like he should be his Vincent D'Onofrio and Kingpin is like its own little like
Yeah.
subject. I mean that Man, I mean, when you finally see Kingpin, first of all, when they first announced that Vincent D'Onofrio was gonna be Kingpin, at first I was like, okay, he's got the height. If he shaves his head, I'm pretty sure he can look like a Kingpin.
He's got his build.
He's got the build. But man, like Vincent D'Onofrio, he always brings his own kind of style of acting to the character, and the Kingpin character or the Wilson Fisk character was like so complicated. Like it could have easily just been like, I'm a bad guy, I'm a thug, I'm a boss. That's it. That's my character. But with this was like, you could tell he had issues. You could tell that he was struggling to be bad, but also try to be good in a way. The fact that they introduced his character having a dating storyline,
Well,
like that was his intro was dating.
The fact he met her in an art gallery.
In an art gallery,
looking at a painting, but he's not just like using it to play his game or whatnot. He's gonna put it in his house,
and it means something.
Yeah, it means something.
Yeah.
Like everything that they shown in it meant something, and it was for a purpose.
Yep.
And I like the fact that they made him like. It's like with him, if you never read the comic book, you didn't know what this dude was about.
Right.
Like, please, this guy, he's gonna go up against Daredevil. Like, he's an art guy. He's talking artsy fartsy,
He's got a suit on and he looks like a rich guy. Yeah.
And he's not even like really going out there, and really throwing out his money at this female, trying to
Win her
buy
over.
her, win her over. Like you see a lot of other guys doing a lot of films.
Yeah.
Like he's just very subtle with it. I like that. Like, he always plays these complicated characters, but the thing with this character, I felt like this really fit for him. Like this was like his dream role. Cause
Yeah.
it's like I could just go ahead and be me.
Yeah.
I could just go ahead and do that. Like, I mean, you see him. I like the one scene they start showing him when he's doing his morning ritual. That's what I call it.
yeah.
Where he gets up from a nightmare. Okay, he's
Every day
waking
he
up
has
in
that
a
nightmare.
cold sweat. He looks over. He sees
Yeah.
the painting he got. You know what I'm saying?
To calm him down.
To calm him down.
Yeah.
Then he goes ahead. He puts on his Komodo robe. Then he goes out there and he makes himself some breakfast.
Puts the classical music on as
Yes,
well.
he puts that, and he's in his same patterns,
Yeah.
all the time. Picks out his suit. He has all these cufflinks, but he only goes for the
one. Yeah.
I mean, he goes through these patterns and stuff, and it's like every day is just the same for him.
Yeah.
It's like just business.
But that's the great thing about his character, and again, it's like I felt like this show wasn't just the intro of Matt Murdock eventually becoming Daredevil, but also Wilson Fisk becoming Kingpin. Like I felt like we were watching him still kind of learn like who he has to become to be that guy, and just seeing him go through that routine, I'm like, wow, like this is like we're seeing another side of him. We're seeing his vulnerability.
Normally in some films, some series, like they only really focus on the origin of the hero and the build up for the hero.
Yeah.
They weren't just building him up; they were building up also Kingpin.
Yeah.
Because when Matt Murdock, he's getting in a relationship with Claire.
Yeah.
We got to mention about her.
Oh, Claire.
She's helping him out. He's really using her for like really those purposes.
Yeah.
He's keeping her safe. Mainly because she's keeping his identity,
Right.
and but he's really all business with her.
Right.
Meanwhile, this guy's going in a relationship at the same time as him,
Yeah.
but he's about her.
All about her.
He's
all about her.
He's like really trying to make this work.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you got Matt. He's over here. He could get with Claire anytime he wants.
Yeah.
But he's adamant about it. He doesn't.
He doesn't want. He wants to protect her. Yeah. It's weird. It's good that you bring that up because it's like they're both strong women. Like Vanessa, you could tell like she was like, kind of like she was an art gallery person, but she's also like she's confident, she's strong. Same thing with Claire. Like Claire's character was very she was a little afraid of the situation, but she's just kind of like I need to help. I'm afraid, but I'm not afraid to help.
Yeah, I mean she's staying in the situation. That shows that she's got courage.
But it's crazy how both of them are trying to protect them in different ways. That's cool that you bring that up because it's like Matt Murdock's trying to protect her by saying like, I don't want you to be here too close because you could be dragged into this and you might get hurt. Whereas the Wilson Fisk is like, no, if you're with me, you're at the safest spot. Like, if you're with me, you won't get hurt. Like, I'll protect you. So I don't want you to know about my thing. It's not because I'm afraid that you'll get hurt. It's because I'm afraid you'll think of me differently. But it was never about like protecting her in that way. So it's crazy to see how those two women are similar and those two relationships are similar, but they kind of ended up in a different way, because like when she got kidnapped, that changed. You know, when Claire got kidnapped, it was like the relationship with her and Matt changed to where she's like, you know, I'm afraid of what you're gonna do, and I don't, and if I were to tell you to stop, I know you won't stop. So I think that we should just be friends. Whereas when Vanessa got hurt, right away when she woke up, the first thing she said was like, "I want you to find who these people are." And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll kill them. I'll make them pay." She's like, "Yeah, I know you will." I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like this, she was like, "Yep, I know that life. I know what you're about, and I'm about it too." So it was like you see those almost similar relationships go two totally different ways. Because you know eventually Vanessa's going to be his wife. I mean, as he's getting arrested, he's like, "I want you to be my, you know, I want to ask you to marry me." And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, damn, this is crazy. And she's all about it. Like, she's going to be, you know, she's his strength. She's his strength. She's the reason why he.
Yeah, she's on this gravy train. She's milking
She's
it.
on it.
She's all about it. She's like, "No, I'm going there. You coming with
You
me?"
come with me.
I mean, that's just it.
And
like,
it's so crazy how like Madame Gao and everybody's like, she changed you. She changed you. You know, she's making you weak. And I'm like, nah, dude. She's making him, if anything, crazier. Like he's getting stronger because of her.
because when it came to her, he's like a taboo subject. You know, he got very emotional. He's like, he had told them, or he's like, no, you know, she's making me better.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, look
she's
at what
I need.
Look at what he did. The craziest thing, and that was another introduction, because up until the part where he's with Vanessa, we don't really see Fisk do anything physical. But the fact that the Russian came up and like messed up his date, and he freaking
It was a first date too.
First date, and he flipped the freak. He flipped out so much that he decapitated the guy. he was like, "You messed up my date." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, this guy really likes her. Like, he's psychotic, yeah, but he really likes her, and the fact that he just like, you know, he decapitated the Russian was like, wow, she really did. I mean, not that she changed him, but you can tell like he cares about her, and that was another thing that was interesting about Wilson Fisk's character, that anytime he went super violent, it was because of people that he loved.
Yeah.
You know, we find out that he killed his father
Because of his mother.
because he was beating on his mother, and he was just like, you know, he took the hammer and just like hammered his father down, which was a crazy, you know, reveal, you know, because up to that point you see how fragile he was, how innocent he was, trying to make his father proud. And then when he gets bullied and he forces him to kick the kid, like you could tell like mentally the wheels are turning for him to kind of snap. And then when the thing with his mother happened, it was just like he snapped. And then his mother wanting him to like chop up his dead pops and throw him in the river. You're just like, yeah, this is gonna fuck this kid up. But those were the three instances that you saw him go crazy. It was the first time when Vanessa, the date got interrupted. He decapitated the Russian guy. The second time was when I think when she got poisoned. That was another. You saw his like rage go really crazy. And then the other time was Wesley, when Wesley got killed, and he found out that Leland was in charge. And again, he went super crazy. And then sort of you can say what was with his mother when Ben, when he found out that Ben was the one that visited his mother. He's like, "Oh, but that's my mother, man. That's my mother. You know, I could let everything else go, but you brought my mother into this." And I think that was the only time like we saw him go crazy, but not too crazy, because he's like, "I could kill you. Like, I'm just gonna choke you to death." But it's crazy to see how emotions are what made him be that darker character. Like, he's just not like, he's a mobster. Yes, he's already messed up. Yes, but it's like when you attack people that he loves, that's when the bull comes out. Or if you try to mess up his plans, that's when the bull comes out.
And the other thing about too, he's not like a really an evil like person.
He wasn't.
He's definitely messed up in the head. You know, he's definitely got anger issues. He's definitely has this like rage in him
Yeah.
that but it's really for those circumstances that he gets like that.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's really calm.
Yeah.
Like you find out like he's just real calm.
Yeah.
And you find out that the whole reason he's doing this in the first place, which is crazy, because he thinks of himself as a superhero.
Exactly.
Like he thinks he's the only person who could save the city, and the way to do that is by working within the system.
And that was the biggest reveal that I was like, oh, wow, I never thought about Kingpin that way. And he was like, no, I want to change the city. I want to make the city better. I just know what it takes to do that in the corrupt way. Because this town is already so corrupted, I need to be the savior by being just as corrupt.
Also, he's also, by him doing that, aligning himself with like what he felt was wrong with New York.
Yeah.
He gave him opportunities to get rid of the competition.
Yeah, that too.
So he's like, look, if I get rid of all these guys, I mean, this city's actually gonna be fine.
Yeah.
If I
I'm helping the city out. Like, I'm getting rid of the triads. I'm getting rid of the Russians.
It's like the guy in the black mask doesn't understand, and that's why he gets upset with him, because
Yeah.
it's like, you're messing up everything I'm building.
Yep.
Like do not understand what you're doing. So that's when he finally meets up with him.
Yeah.
Of course, that's another rage moment he has and
And
stuff.
that's the final rage moment, yeah.
Yeah, when he's just like, nah, forget that. Let's, I had enough of you.
You messed it up so much, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch. Like, you're putting me in jail now because of your antics. And that was the great thing about his character arc, because you see him go from like, I want to save the city, and then finally when he realizes, he's like, no, I get it. Like, this whole time I've been trying to be good and bad at the same time, and you can't be both. And so he realized, he was like, at first I thought I was the city's savior, but now I'm not. And the way that ended at the end of the series was brilliant. I was like, wow, now we're seeing basically the birth of the Kingpin that I remember from the comic books, where he was like a crime lord. Like, there was nothing about him that he wanted to save the city. It was all about power and just being powerful. Like, that was his thing. He the city was like second to him. So I love seeing that character arc for Wilson Fisk, to be like, no, I get it now. I get who I have to be now. I try to be the nice guy. I try to be the politician. I try to do good things for the city, but it's just not. That's just not meant for me. I'm not supposed to do that. And it was kind of the same arc that that Vanessa had, which was kind of funny too, because it's like, at first she's like, she has the gun in her purse. She's like, I don't know, are you dangerous? And then he's showing her like the buildings explode on fire, and she's just there like taking it in.
Yeah.
And then up all the way to the end, where she's like waiting for him at the helicopter, knowing that he's going to escape from jail. It's not like he lied to her and be like, oh, I'll beat this. Don't worry, I'll find the lawyer and beat this. He's like, he whispered to her, he's like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Like, are you down with this? Like, we're gonna be fugitives. And she's like, no, I'm cool. Yeah, let's do that. So it's like they both kind of realize, like, no, I'm okay with this. I'm okay. And I feel like that was the other overall story arc for all these characters was like acceptance. Like, when Foggy found out who Matt really was, it was hard for him to accept that Matt lied to him for all these years. And he had to kind of go through this thing and be like, you know what? He lied to me, but I have to accept that, this is who he is. He's going to be the vigilante, and he's going to be the lawyer. He's going to try to do both things, and I just kind of have to accept that that's who he is. Karen had to kind of accept, in a way, in a shocking way, that you can push as far as you can, but sometimes if you push too much, you're gonna get people killed. Like, she got Ben killed, So all these even Ben realized, like, he didn't want to be at the newspaper. Like, the newspaper, that was just too corrupt. Like, the newspaper was corrupt. He was always talking about, like, oh, I don't want to be a blogger. I don't want to be a blogger. And then he ended up, before he died, he was like, you know what? I think I just got to accept that if I want the real news out there, I got to be a blogger. So I love that overall theme was with everybody. Like, everybody was just accepting things.
And Claire, she accepted what her relationship was going to be like with Matt.
Yep.
You know, when she found out who he
Who he
really
was.
was.
Yeah.
It's like,
She was like, "Oh, damn, this dude is like throwing people off roofs, and like, I'm thinking that he's like a sniper and shooting people, but he's not gonna stop." Like, she was like, "Yeah, I can't, like, I can't be with this guy." So I love that. I love that the overall theme of that was prevalent throughout the whole series. Um, but yeah, as far as characters, we're they were pretty good, man. They were pretty good. I mean, I know we're leaving out another character, but that kind of spills into the action part with Stick.
yeah,
Stick was another character that they didn't, and that was another thing too. I like the fact that they didn't go the normal superhero route where it's just like, okay, episode 1, what are these powers? What am I gonna do with it? Episode 2, oh, you're my mentor. What do I do now? It's like they kind of presented it in a way where it's just like, okay, this is Matt present day. This is him trying to be who he is. Episode 7, how he got that training and who he got that from. And it was great because the first 6 episodes I felt was like the introduction of the mob and introduction of the law and all that, and I feel like the next episodes were the introduction of the fights, the introduction of ninjas, the introduction of even the spiritual realm that might play a part. Like it gave enough of that time where you're used to how the series is, and now you're like, okay, you thought this was a law show, you thought this was a superhero show. Well, this is also there are also other things in this realm that we're just gonna talk about, touch on. And with Stick, with the introduction of Stick, first of all, the actor who played Stick, I mean, the guy's a badass. Like every movie that he's in is just like he's just a badass.
yeah. He's always playing the tough guy roles and stuff. You know, he's definitely,
Scott Glenn, that's his name. Scott Glenn, yeah.
yeah, he's always playing those roles. You know, whether he's playing, Buffalo Soldiers, being like the tough first sergeant, or
Training Day.
Training Day, playing
I always remember from Training Day. He's so funny at Training Day.
yeah, he's got that look, like,
Yeah.
you just can't love him, you can't go ahead and be cool with him.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because and you see what Matt does with him,
Yeah.
and their conflict between the two.
Yeah.
Because all this guy wants to do is train him, show him how to use the powers,
Yeah.
and then make him like his right hand man for his crew.
Yeah.
And what Matt was really looking for at the same time was like, okay, we could do all that, but at the same time, can I call you dad?
Yeah, he's looking for a father figure, and Stick was like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah,
This kid's not ready yet."
And it's cool because when you see them interact and stuff, I mean, Stick missed with his head so much that at one point he puts him in an assed out position that he ends up getting dusted by the old man.
Yeah.
Because that's how much he affected him. And that's what it told me. Because like, look, this dude can take on anybody. He's been taking everybody out.
Yeah.
But anybody's come up across him, like they couldn't stand a chance, like a match with him.
Yeah.
But you put him in a situation, anybody could beat him at that point.
Exactly.
Because he really gets to him, and you see him like when he's talking to him, he has like a lot of anger.
A whole lot of anger. Yeah.
Then they start going ahead and showing the origin story of like how they met, how the training is going, the conversations, and you're like, okay, yeah, I see why he's pissed at him.
Yeah, because it was his father figure, his father, and that's another character. His father was a big, character of not only he's a boxer, and it goes back to the fighting, the fighting of him being like, we can take punches, we're good at taking punches, we're good at kind of surviving, and his father always trying to do right for his son, and then ultimately wanting something for himself, like to just have his son hear his father's, people cheering him, and then to lose his father, and then Stick comes in and replaces like that father role, and then have Stick leave is like, yeah, Matt Murdock's gonna have some issues with you because it's like he kind of felt like you were his new father and you just left. And Stick's character is just so funny because he's just such a hard ass that he's just like, no, I don't want to make you weak. I want to make you stronger. I know what you're trying to do, but in order to get to that level, you gotta be at this.
Yeah,
you gotta do certain things that you're not
all
willing
your
to do.
ties and stuff, And that's why he was always jabbing about his old man and stuff,
Yeah.
making fun of him and stuff. But And where he would get emotional with is like, you don't know my old man, you don't know how he is, and this and that. He's a good man
Yeah.
and whatnot. And you see that from when he's interacting, when they're doing like part of the origin story, when he's talking to Jack Murdock.
Yeah.
They're talking, and he's like, "Look, I don't want you to fight. I fight. I'll take my ass whippings so I could go ahead and provide for us." Shows you how good of a father he is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he went down that route with him,
Right.
because there's another version of him they show in the comic books where Daredevil gets motivated by him in a negative way,
Right.
where he he drinks, which this one he drunk too.
But it wasn't like he was a drunk.
Yeah, he wasn't like he was like a drunk, like taking it out on Matt.
Matt, yeah.
The other version, he took it out on Matt. So Matt was like, "Look, I want to stop people like this."
Right.
But in this version, they were like, "Look, I want to stop the people that hurt my father, took my father from me."
Right.
That's what motivated him. So like, I like the fact that they went with this version with him, because it showed Matt like what a good father was
Yeah.
and what he can't not have in Stick.
Yep.
And it was cool, because it's like you see his father. He's he's an alright boxer, but he's tough.
He's tough. Yeah.
And they show like like what Matt's about. He's like, "Look, I get that from my old man. He's tough, but I want to be a good fighter too." And that's where Stick comes in.
Yep.
So he's like he been influenced by these two men right there so much. So that's what shaped his character.
Yep.
Was that right there?
Yep.
And him going into the law was just like, "Look, my father. I mean, kind of like a promise to him, but I wouldn't fight. So I'll
do
fight
law.
with this. So I'll use the law."
I'll use the law to fight. Yeah.
But then with Stick was like, "Look, he trained me specifically for this. I got all these skill set that a lot of people do not possess, and I got these powers on top of that
Right.
that a lot of people don't possess.
Right.
It'd be a shame for me not to use them."
Yeah.
So that's where that comes in. It's just that constant conflict in the character. You know what I'm saying?
And you can tell like that affected him, because he even kind of knew, like he was like you made it nice to make it seem like you found me, or like somebody found you to find me. He's like, "I know that's not the case. I know that you found me." And that was a cool thing, because it's like, that opened up more of like, he's not stupid. Like he knows like, you obviously training me for something, and then you just left while you were training me, so I had to train myself. And of course I'm going to be a vigilante, because that's what I'm thinking you're training me for. And Stick never really told, he's like, "I'm preparing you for what you really need to be," but he never tells him what that is. So of course Matt gets frustrated, because he's like, "But what are you training me for? Why are you even here? Why are you even doing this?" And it was great to see that relationship between the two, and seeing like where he learned some of this stuff from. The other important thing about Stick's character is that it automatically introduced, which I think is going to be part of Iron Fist kind of storyline, because when they were trying to get what was it? I think it was the black sword, or
It
the
was
black.
that.
They called it something, but it was
Yeah, it was
basically a
the boy,
kid. It was a
yeah.
boy who might have been possessed by a spirit or something, because he was like, he was telling him when Matt saw it, he was like, it was a kid. He was like, "That's not a kid. It probably was a kid at one point, but that's not a kid."
Well, I know. I'm not sure if those people were the Hand.
Yeah.
That's what Iron Fist's main enemies are, is the Hand.
Yeah.
But I know that they all look for gifted like children
Yeah.
to be like kind of like this like prophecy, like this ultimate kind of warrior,
Yeah.
because they have like they possess all this potential. Maybe that kid might have been that. I'm not sure.
Could have been.
Because
Yeah.
they didn't even go into it, because they're gonna save it for later.
For later on, yeah.
But I know of reading the comic books, but that's been the case. Like Typhoid Mary, she was one of them.
Oh shit.
And there's been other characters, but like all these characters end up not being that person. But I'm not sure if that was the case. But they did say that kind of person is rare.
It's
you
rare,
know?
yeah.
They were like, where are we gonna
Where
find
we-
that?
Yeah.
But it's cool, because now they show Stick also kind of in Daredevil's world, because like he doesn't really care about the Russians. The Russians at that point are kind of done.
They're done by that point, yeah.
But he doesn't care about the triads. He's going to war with the Yakuza, but it's really because of this
The
kid.
Hand, yeah.
Once he gets rid of this kid, I wasn't sure what his intentions were, but it's clear that with Nobu, the Yakuza, I guess I wouldn't say he's the leader, because he said there's other people above him.
Right.
But with him, like they kind of show you that other realm.
There's
you know?
ties. There's ties to another realm.
Yeah, so because then you see him when he goes up against Daredevil, you know what I'm saying? When,
Yeah.
Fist kind of like pushes him towards that,
Yeah.
like puts that little tip it out there and like it starts baiting him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we need one of your people, one of your highly skilled people, because this guy's got a lot of skill.
Right.
So go out there and
And
find
fight.
me something like that and make sure this gets done.
I liked. I'm trying to figure out who was the person at the end that Stick was talking to. Like Stick goes and he's talking to some guy who's like in the Indian position. He's got like long hair, and he's like, "Is he ready yet?" And he's like, "I think I found somebody, but he's not ready yet."
Yeah, that's one of the members of the cast. That's one of their main leaders.
Yeah.
The cast is that group that Stick is kind of like he's running. Like you gotta look at like this person is like kind of like the owner, and Stick is like the president of that group. And like Nobu, I'm pretty sure that's what he was working with the hand as well.
Yeah.
But he's not the leader. Like I said, they have their own leaders and their own hierarchy.
Yeah.
So they're not they're setting up for something big, and you don't know what it is. You don't know
Yeah.
if Defenders is what's gonna when they come out
Culminate-
with Defenders is
culminate
gonna
to that,
go
yeah.
into that, or Iron Fist is gonna pick up where this left off.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, but they're definitely setting up something big, which I like because it's like, they're you already see the best is yet to come,
Right.
and you got a taste of that when Daredevil fights the Red Ninja Nobu.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, now the level of skill this guy has and the level of skill Daredevil has, now he's finding someone equal to him. Because before that, his powers, like he could go out there and light people up with his powers.
Yeah.
Because he's like, look, I got this skill level and I got these abilities.
Well, let's talk about fighting. The fighting is of course a big part of the show. You're first introduced to the fighting in the pilot episode when he's trying to get those girls out of the thing. And that was one of the things that I was worried about with the series, because usually when you see a series like this, is like obviously fighting is big. This is a big part of that show, and to see his fighting style and the way that they shot the fighting from that first episode, I was like, this is definitely something different. Like this is cool. Like the way he maneuvered, the way that they never really cut. Like usually when the Batman series, and I know you've talked to me about this before, and it's so true, is like Christopher Nolan's Batman was the fighting style was all based on cuts. It's just quick cuts. You didn't really know what was going on, and it just ended as soon as you figured out, like, oh, okay, that's a punch. Oh, it's done. Whereas this was like it let everything play out, and you kind of saw little by little through every fight, how much he knows and how much he progresses in his fights. I mean, even when we get up to Nobu, that fight with Nobu was crazy. Like up until that point, he was fighting thugs, and with the exception of the guy who killed himself with the spike.
Yeah, the guy at the bowling alley.
The bowling alley, that was a pretty intense fight as well. But it wasn't up until the Nobu fight where it was just like, oh, wow.
This is like, you can't sneak up on me. I got the same skill and training you have.
Yep.
So let's do this. Yeah, I like the fighting in it, and that's one thing I was worried about because, I just finished, everybody probably just finished seeing the whole Dark Knight series and whatnot.
Yeah.
And with that, you never saw kick-ass Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman's got all these. He's literally was trained as a ninja by Ra's al Ghul in that, And
Yeah.
even in the comic books, he knows multiple fighting styles, like several.
Yeah.
And he mastered each one of them. So for us never to really see what he's capable of doing, that always used to piss me off. Because even when you saw him go up against Bane, it's like, dude, I know you could be way better than this.
Yeah.
Like when you're fighting,
You
should be way
be
better
able
than
to-
this.
Yeah.
You're fighting 4 ninjas. You should be having a hot fight. Daredevil fought 1 ninja, and
It
you
was a
saw,
hot fight.
yeah, and look, that was 1 ninja he fought. You fought 4 of them,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to be better than them.
And that was hot.
You should have had a hot fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And over here, I like with this because it's like you only fought like street thugs.
Yeah.
It was just like him showcasing his skills.
Yeah.
Because they were showing like he was a little bit of Kali. He was using his style.
Yeah.
Salat,
Wushu,
Wushu,
yeah.
Capoeira,
Yep.
ninjutsu, and boxing. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying, from his own man.
Yep.
So he was showing all elements of all his skill levels.
Yep.
And then couple that with his powers and stuff, it takes it to the next level. With, like I said, that was one thing that I was really worried about. Is like, damn, like they got a series like this, but how well are they gonna like focus in on the fight choreography? And if that's the case, because some places, some series will shy away from that because they know they don't
They don't
have
it,
anybody
yeah.
like that. Like
It'll be a quick like cut scene of like the fight's almost over, and
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, fight's over.
But here, every episode he fought.
Yep.
Every episode he fought somebody, and he fought them a little different. Yeah.
I love like when he was fighting cops, when he's fighting things, is like he'll take the gun, take it apart, throw the gun at the other cop. You know, they'll shoot. He'll like do the little acrobatic twist to dodge the bullet, but then like do an uppercut kick or whatever. Everything was like, yeah, if this is his skill set, he's gonna use it. Like he's not just gonna save it for, you know, because that's what I feel like sometimes. Like Batman's a good thing of that is like I felt sometimes Batman was like, oh, I'm fighting cops, so let me just kind of be normal. It's like, nah, dude, like you're gonna want to use your skill set all the time. You don't want to be rusty. And Daredevil used it all the time. No matter who he was fighting, no matter what their skill level was, he was like, I'm using my ninjutsu, I'm using my wushu or whatever, you know, all those different types of things. He used it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the dude was highly skilled. He was trained for a reason. He knew that.
Yeah.
And he was going to employ that. Even Foggy noticed that when he went ahead and saw, like, the news footage of him.
Yeah.
He was like, what was that you were doing? Because you learn how to, like this
Your
whole
father
time.
was a boxer.
Your father was a boxer, and yet you're doing, like, all these, like, ancient martial art techniques and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So, like, even to someone who's, like, the untrained eye like Foggy, you know, he knew what was up with this guy.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about his character and, like, what they show with him when he's fighting is that he had all these capabilities. And this is also, mind you, the basis of what Daredevil's going to be because he didn't have the costume yet.
Right.
He didn't have the suit. He didn't have, read the baton.
The
like, later
batons,
on, Stick gives him the 2 sticks and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he, so he's like, you're going to need these,
these,
you
yeah.
know? Like, you weren't using them before, like,
gonna
use them
need
now.
them.
And
Yeah.
he did use them when,
Yeah.
when he gave it to him.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed, like, he didn't be like, no, take it with you. He was like, well, you know what, actually, yeah,
I do need this.
these.
Yeah.
You know? It makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
So you see that. And I also like the fact when they introduced Stick, they start explaining more about, like, his skill set goes beyond just fighting. Like, when he uses meditation. 'Cause I was like, this guy's always getting his ass kicked.
Oh yeah.
He's always getting hurt, but he's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
coming back looking good. And they explain, with the meditation is going to help you heal.
Heal faster. Yeah.
You know, and it's not just Claire patching them up. That's like
only
first
part of
aid.
it.
But
Yeah.
now the rehabbing is me going ahead and taking care of myself and my well-being.
That's true.
So I like that. Like they explained that.
Yeah.
Um,
And the fact that when he does get the costume too is like he understood. Like he's like, yeah, I can't, especially when he gets the shit kicked out of him by Wilson Fisk the first time. He's like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I need a costume.
Yeah,
like I need something.
Yeah, because he went ahead and tried to cut into him and stuff. He's like, well, he's got stuff,
Yeah.
but he's got that kind of money where he could go ahead and afford to do stuff like that. But I don't have that kind of money, but I do have my resources.
Right.
I'm a good interrogator. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm gonna find out.
I'm pretty good detective on top of that. So
Yeah.
let me go ahead and get myself a suit and let me start taking things serious.
Yeah.
And being ready because like I had to go to the next level with these guys.
And man, when he fought when he fought Kingpin with that suit and he had the batons, I was like,
it was good. I mean, the way he flipped and the way he jumped onto the truck, I was like, this is Daredevil. This is Daredevil right here. You know what I'm saying? Like he was there and he stood there in front of him and and he was like, yeah, let's go. Like he was like, I'm not gonna fight him yet. Like he's like, as soon as he found out he was gonna break free,
yeah.
He didn't even go there immediately. He went to go get his suit. He's like, is it ready? He was
yes.
like, well, look, he's like, the red does this, the black does that.
He's like,
it's ready.
It's
I
ready.
need it. You know what I'm saying? He put it on. He went to town.
that fight was talk about fighting. That fight was so epic. Like,
because up until this, you see him like he's out skilling people, and you see Wilson, he's just out powering them.
Yeah.
Because he did. Well, this was just one thing about his character they didn't explain about his skill set
right.
and about his physical attributes.
Yeah.
But I knew from reading a comic book what he's capable of doing. I knew that he looked like a fat guy, but in reality, he's mainly muscle.
Yeah.
He's like about 75, 90% muscle.
Yeah.
So like it looks like he's like a 350-pound fat guy. In reality, he's a 450-pound muscle guy.
Yeah.
So, and also he spent time in Japan, so he learned how to sumo wrestle.
Right.
He knew jiu-jitsu. He like one of his favorite moves is the bear hug in the comic books.
Yeah.
So this guy here was a physical equal to like other like superheroes like Captain America and even Spider-Man. He could give competition to. So this guy was badass, and you see him when he's fighting. No one could stand a chance against him. He's like, "Come on, hit me!" And he's taking it all, and he just pure primal rage, just smashing on them. So now it made me interested because I was like, well, you've been trying this shit with everybody else. Okay, now I
Now
want to
it's-
see you try this with him, and you've been trying this shit with everybody else. Now I want to see you try this shit with him.
Yep.
So it was interesting seeing both their fight styles collide.
Yeah.
You got the scene where Daredevil, like Kingpin, runs at him trying to overpower him. Daredevil flips over him, grabs him in the back of his jacket. He throws him
Throws him
down
in.
to the ground. You know, this
Oh,
guy
man.
here, he clotheslines him. He just starts trying to pummel him.
It's
Like,
so
just-
funny how many times he ragdolls like Daredevil, like just throws him against the garbage disposal, the garbage canister dumpster, and like all that, like the way that they showed it, I was like, man, that's so cool. Like to see
Yeah, it
his
was-
strength. It's like,
yeah. He was just
Ah.
he was just using prime because in the beginning of the fight was another thing was funny because Daredevil had his sticks out and he was like he puts them away. He was like, that's right, you don't got weapons.
Yeah.
So you want to do let's go. You know
Let's
what I'm
go,
saying?
yeah.
This time I haven't fought Nobu and stuff. I'm not all hurt and stuff. Now let's go. Let's go. So then after a while, of course, he breaks him out. When he starts getting his ass kicked, and he's like, "Well, I got these. Let me."
Let me use them.
Let me
Stick
use
said
them.
I needed these, so I
Yeah.
need to use them. Yeah.
So it's like and I think this is also like one of the lessons learned with his character. He's going to be using for the next thing he's going to
For
do.
the next series.
Whether it be did come into the Luke Cage, or the Iron Fist, or in
Jessica
Defenders,
Jones,
you know.
Yeah.
So I like that. The other thing too, like I said, talking about the powers and the physical skill sets.
Oh, powers. Yeah.
Like I said, Kingpin, they never explained like what his was. Like he technically doesn't have powers, but like I said, he's that strong guy.
Yeah.
And his training, he spent time in Japan, so he knew how to fight from over there.
Yeah.
And also growing up in Hell's Kitchen, he knew how to street fight, which you saw a lot of him doing.
Yeah.
But I would like them to touch upon that because
Yeah.
I think if you never read the comic book, you wouldn't understand that because he would just look like Vincent D'Onofrio.
He just looks strong.
You know?
Yeah.
He just looks like a fat guy who's got like fat boy strength. In all reality, he's a strong guy. Now, when it comes to Daredevil, I felt like they need to touch upon his powers more and explain them more. Like they explained that look, all his senses were heightened, and he because he was bombarded with radiation. He lost his vision like that.
Right.
But and they call him always a blind guy. He wasn't technically
he
blind.
wasn't blind. Yeah.
He could see. He just didn't see the way we saw. He didn't see black and white because he could talk to you. He couldn't tell what your nationality you were unless maybe in your accent or whatever
Yeah.
and stuff. But he didn't see black and white. He just saw everything on fire, like he said. But he saw.
Right.
That's how he was getting around so good. 'Cause
Yeah.
Foggy even made mention that it's like it seems like sometimes it doesn't even seem like you're even blind.
Yeah.
You get around so well.
And I think they
and how do you
quickly
always
showed-
know that there's a beautiful woman around?
And I think they quickly showed that, right? There was an episode where you kind of saw
Yeah,
how
when he was
saw.
talking to Claire,
Yeah.
she was like, so how you're blind, so how do you see? He's like, well, I kind of don't see, and he also told Foggy this.
Yeah.
He's like, you're blind. He's like, well, I see the world on fire.
Right.
He was like, but he said, okay, but you can see. He's like, well, not really.
Not really. Yeah.
But he technically can't. He just sees like the world like that.
It's like silhouettes. Yeah.
And that's a power he has to actually map out the area. Because if you notice some of the fights he has, like the part when he's fighting a guy from the bowling alley.
Yeah.
When before he impales himself, he tries to push Daredevil into that. How did Daredevil know that was there?
Yeah.
Because his vision is like a type of Byakugan when Neji has from Naruto.
Naruto. Yeah.
He has almost like 360 vision.
Yeah.
He could see the whole area as like a map
Yeah.
and everything in it, like as a piece there.
Yeah.
For at least for the stationary objects. So he knew that was gonna be there, and I wish they would explain that more. Another ability he had that they touched upon for some situations, like he knew when the bad guys were coming up to Claire's apartment
Yeah.
because he could smell like what kind of cologne the guy had.
Right.
I wish they would have touched upon his sense of smell, because how heightened that was.
Yeah.
Better. But they only did little tidbits with that.
Yeah.
But there was one scenario where it actually would have helped him out a lot more than his hearing, which is what they were constantly using throughout the whole series.
It seemed like that was the main.
Yeah,
focus.
the go-to was using that
Hearing.
that sonar ability he had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Using that. But the thing about it is like he could have used that in a sense like when they kidnapped her, they brought her down to like the taxi.
Yeah.
He's trying to listen to where she's at. Like he heard that she's in distress, but he couldn't pinpoint what it was.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like you've been around her so many times, you
know
have
how
her
to smell.
scent.
Yeah.
Right now your sense of smell is up there with like Wolverines and bloodhounds, or saying grizzly bears. Like you could track her just based off how she smells.
Yep.
Now there was some time in the comic books where they test how good his smell is. There was one time he could actually smell a sniper, right? The round he had
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the guy was like 2 blocks away, right?
Yeah.
And he was like several stories up, and he could smell, the discharge of his rifle and stuff.
Oh wow.
That's how keen his sense of smell is.
Yeah.
Another ability he has too is his sense of touch, which is heightened as well. Like he kind of explained it to be explained in a negative way, like to Stick when Stick was like silk sheets.
Oh yeah, because he's like everything else feels like sandpaper.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
cause cotton feels like sandpaper to me, so I had to wear silk,
Yeah.
And he saw my soft
Oh, I
lifestyle.
didn't catch that. Oh wow, yeah, you're right. So that is about his touch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's he all 5 of his sentences are heightened.
Yeah.
He could go ahead and actually take like a letter,
Yeah.
like if it's imprinted on, let's say you write something on a pencil or whatever, and it's got like a little bit imprint of the ink,
Yeah.
unless it's like printed out flat, you know what I'm saying, or laminated. He could actually read. He doesn't have to read with Braille.
Right.
He could actually read letters off of it. You know what I'm saying? Just by the imprint. That's like he kind of did that with his old man's his robe.
Yeah.
He was touching it with outlining his fingers. He could read it. His old man didn't catch on to it, and whatnot. But that's how he was able to do that.
Right. Right.
His sense of touch is also another weapon he has.
Yeah.
Because he could actually, when he goes ahead and physically like touches an opponent, he could actually like feel their muscles twitch.
Yeah.
He could go ahead and like know like how stressed out their body is or their muscles are.
Yeah.
He could find weaknesses in objects that way as well.
Yeah.
He fought a Zorby Man one time in the comic books and stuff. He was able to pinpoint the weaknesses in his body when Zorby Man could like take the substance of any object he touches. He touched a diamond, and diamonds, how hard they are.
Yeah.
He actually found the weak points in them and stuff, and was able to target them precisely. That's how good his powers are.
Damn.
His sense of taste is also heightened as well.
Yeah.
He could go out there and like really break down. Like he kind of explained it to Foggy. You know what I'm saying?
But they didn't really show it.
Yeah, they didn't.
It was more of
they-
an explanation.
Yeah, like about the food and stuff. About what he ate and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they didn't. He talked about it, but they never showed it. And that's one thing that I was disappointed on. With the sonar ability he had, what I'm saying, with his super hearing.
Yeah.
They really did good with that. Like they really went all out to like really explain like how good his hearing is. I just wish that they went ahead and talk more about
His
his
other
other
senses.
abilities.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, this dude's so much more than just that. So much more than just using it as a lie detector. So like they made it seem like that's how he was able to just dodge some attacks is by hearing that. There was like if the person was behind him about to shoot at him, yeah. But the guy is very precise. He uses all his abilities all at the same time, and that's what makes him very good.
That's what makes him
shoots
dangerous.
at him,
Yeah.
he used all his abilities to kind of hone in on that bullet, ricochet it, and have it deflect it back at the person's head if he wanted to.
Yeah.
That's how precise the guy is. And his skill level, like when it comes to fighting and like how he would do against like a mecha human or a superpower, a mutant or whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy in the comic books, he has beaten guys like Dr. Octopus. He's beaten Electro. You know what I'm saying? He's held his own going toe-to-toe with Sabretooth.
Oh man.
With Venom. Like this guy here,
He's able to hold his own.
he's an intelligent tactician. They did show him fighting smart throughout the series,
Right.
but I felt like they could have took him to
Delivered
even
more.
another level.
Yeah.
But maybe when the next time they show him,
He'll be more advanced.
I mean, that's how it is. I mean, like with Captain America, the first movie they had,
Right.
you see, like, he's strong, he's fast, but they never showed it.
They're not
And
using
you
it
didn't-
right. They weren't using it right.
No, they
Yeah.
weren't using it right. You didn't
Yeah.
see that until Avengers. And
Yeah.
then Avengers, since he wasn't all about him being in the film, you only got to see
A little bit.
little bit. Then it wasn't until he had his second film, Winter Soldier. Now you got, this is what he
This
can
is
do.
how he's supposed to be. Yeah.
That's what I'm still waiting for when it comes to him. Now I'm grateful they show him like fighting the ability he had,
Yeah.
and that they show his powers. I just wish they would explain it just a little more.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Because I'm thinking back to the series. I'm like, you know what? If they kind of would have even showed that would have been even more of a bonus. Like, oh wow, this sense of smell, sense of touch, and yeah. I mean, I think hopefully that's gonna be one of the things that they build upon when we see him next time.
I mean, Stick has the same abilities as him,
Yeah.
but he wasn't bombarded with any radiation. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go blind from that. I think he was born blind.
He's just born
what I'm
with
saying?
the ability.
But he went in and focused and harnessed with that training.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? all those abilities. He's actually got extra abilities that Daredevil doesn't have.
Oh wow.
Like he's a telepath, and Daredevil like he kind of made mention of that. Like he was wondering about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's almost as if like you know what to say to get at me and like hurt me,
So,
or
yeah.
or like you already know
To
kind of like what
push
I'm
my
thinking.
buttons. Yeah.
Because he could read minds. He also has a life draining ability. We could drain person's life.
What?
Yeah, he has that. Like I'm telling you, like the
What
dude,
the hell?
the dude is bad. The dude is
Oh
bad,
my
and this is the
God.
stuff that I don't know if they're gonna explain in the Iron Fist or the next time they show Daredevil and Defenders.
It's possible. It's possible because what was cool also if you're talking about powers. Remember Madame Gal when she hit.
She caught him with a pawn strike. She caught him, and the dude was like, "What?" Daredevil was
that?
like, she's walking around like Yoda style with a cane and stuff, and you're like, "Well, this chick got skills."
Yep.
Like, I was just gonna probably look, old lady, like, what I'm saying.
Put her in handcuffs and be like, look, you
Yeah,
don't.
sit this one out,
Yeah.
But nah, next time he goes up against her, he's gonna have to just go ahead and take her care of her like she doesn't like any dude,
Yeah.
But that's the thing I love about that world is that everybody's kind of unsuspecting.
Yeah.
Like I said, with Daredevil, there's still more layers to his abilities that they could show in the future.
Yep.
And technically, they should have showed it now because he has full control of all his abilities. He already explained that he's mastered those skills
Since he was a kid. Yeah.
since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But they still have time to do that for the next. I mean, still the beginnings. The thing about like Marvel, I noticed, is they get stronger with the second.
Yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
second,
yeah,
the second installment, where it'd be second series with him, or be doing it in Defenders, or doing it in a
Iron
movie
Fist
if they
Oh.
put him in
Civil War.
Civil War,
Civil War.
because they have said, look, he's part of his universe. Like what was it? It wasn't was it Leland? I don't remember what it was, but they had told the Russians, they're like, look, I can see you getting your butt kicked if the guy had
Oh,
like an
yeah.
iron suit or a magic hammer,
Yeah.
So they made mention of the Avengers, so like they're in that world.
Yeah.
And that now, like Marvel likes to like take a character, especially now the ratings are good with this.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna want to use him. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna want to use him, and I would like to see.
He's gonna be around. He's gonna definitely be
Yeah,
around.
I definitely would like to see. I mean, if like, I don't know if the director of the series or whatnot, the fight choreographers. I hope like they hear this, and like I would like to see you guys use more of those abilities and
Yeah.
stuff. He's a hot character. I'm so happy that they went ahead and did him justice after that crap they put out with the Ben Affleck film.
That should be the one that the name that should not be mentioned.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the Wilson Fisk of. Yeah, that
I mean, they did Daredevil proud with this because this is what people should have seen in that film.
yeah.
They should have seen that. And then you had some hot villains like Bullseye, and you had the love interest, which they mentioned in it too, was Elektra.
Yeah.
They mention her in it.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, because remember when he was talking to Foggy, he was like, "Whatever happened to that Greek girl that you were going out with?"
Oh.
Yes. She's in it. Like they mentioned, he was like, but he didn't. Once again, they didn't explain.
Explain. They just
He was
gave you
like,
hints.
yeah, he was like, "Oh, it didn't work out. She had to leave."
Oh
and
wow!
it's
I
like,
didn't
but where did
catch
she go?
that. I didn't catch that. No,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Him and
He's like
Elektra.
that Greek girl. Why don't you learn Greek? He was like, she wanted to learn Spanish. I didn't.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like and well, they have he's a man of mystery too, because Foggy didn't know a lot about him, so
Right.
his relationship with her is a lot deeper. 'Cause that was actually his first love,
Right.
and really his only love up until that point.
And that could kind of make sense on why he's going through so many women, because maybe that was the one. Like he's trying to be like, well, I had Elektra. Why can't any of these girls be like Elektra?
Well, she's a complicated character too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's complicated. She was as complicated, if not more complicated, than him.
right.
Like all the stuff she goes through and
Oh,
her
that's so cool.
skill
I
set.
didn't remember that.
And then the funny thing, he's lying to her the whole time. He's dating her, but she's also lying to him. He's thinking, "Oh, we get mugged, I got you." You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and
But
she's thinking the same
we
thing.
get mugged, I got you.
Yeah.
You know. See, so that's a crazy thing. And now you got that. So if they come with the second season,
That's
I'm sure they're gonna
Oh,
put her
yeah.
into it.
yeah.
And she's a hot character too. That once again, go back to that movie, they did not show.
And that's the cool thing too. Like with this series, like they didn't try to jam everything in the first shot. Like
Yeah,
they could have done Bullseye. They could have done Elektra. There was no need for it, and they understood that. They're like, we don't need them now. We don't need them. Now.
It kept our interest without having to put like all those other villains. Like you definitely need to talk about the Kingpin.
Yeah.
This is still part one with the Kingpin because it's not done between
This is not
those
done.
two.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
look, this is only gonna hold me for a little bit. I'm getting out of here. And
Yeah.
when I get out of here, I kind of
That's
know
it.
what you're about.
That's it.
Now I'm gonna come at you with some heavy, come at you heavy with
Because
some.
now
heavy
he
guns.
knows. Now he's like, look, I'm not trying to play politics. I'm a crime lord now.
Yeah.
That's who I'm gonna be.
And he's gonna go after him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to whatever they're gonna do in the future with him.
Yep.
It's definitely exciting. I mean, you got some exciting characters coming up. You show more Stick. You're gonna show more of the cast. You're gonna show more of like this opposition maybe with the hand,
The
or
hand.
with the Yakuza. They only touched upon that
A
for
little
a little
bit,
bit, and
yeah.
and same thing with the triads.
Yeah.
So you got more with that.
Yeah.
You have these characters, and then of course you throw in your bullseyes and whatnot, and maybe Taskmaster they might show in the future.
Yep.
I have no idea, but even with some of those people, they almost don't need them right now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because I say if they're gonna do next season, I would just finish up what you're gonna do with the triads
Yeah.
and what you're gonna do with the Yakuza.
Yep.
And then like towards the end of that series, I will go ahead and make it to where okay, now they're setting up for part 2 with now not Wilson Fisk, but now the Kingpin,
Yeah.
because he
'Cause
has
now he's the Kingpin.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
he's the Kingpin, and
Yeah.
I think at the end they should kind of establish like I'm not Wilson, I'm Kingpin.
I kind of like how they alluded to that, like when Vanessa was picking out his costume or his outfit, and she would pick like a different suit for him with the Oh no, they made a joke about it. I forgot where it was, but they're like,
Oh, his morning ritual, like all of a sudden it changed. Oh, that's another thing. It changed when she came through.
yeah.
And yeah, she went and got different cufflinks and stuff.
So you could tell like he's gonna look different, be different as the Kingpin.
Well,
Like,
not to mention also he had his prison whites on.
Oh
at the
yeah.
end.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the Kingpin suit in the comics, he's always
Is all
wearing
white.
that big white suit.
Yep.
With
With the ascot.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
they made fun of. I forgot who made fun of it. They're like, who wears an ascot? And I forgot what character said that. I started laughing. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. But yeah, the great thing about this series, the people who brought this together is like they gave you enough for the first season, and they set up all these storylines and all these hints for. I mean, even Doctor Strange, I feel like they might have hinted at that, because Madame Gao was like, oh, she has to go back somewhere, and Leland was like, oh, you're going back to China? She was like, no, somewhere much farther than that. So it sounded like she was going to like another realm or something.
Well, yeah,
like
she
that.
kind of explained like she's like, you think this drug thing is my main business? This is just kind of like a front. It's something I'm kind of just doing.
I'm just,
But
yeah,
she
yeah.
has a bigger goal, bigger plan,
Yeah.
and I like that they give you like little tidbits, and they're not really saying, but they're leaving it out there that
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen yet.
Yeah.
And we don't really know what they're gonna do with it. Is already in this series, they did keep it true to the comic book, but they did take elements of other comic
All the
books.
comics, yeah.
So you don't know what story they're gonna use. You don't know what direction they're really gonna do.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that this feels like a true, compliment to the comic book series. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing a comic book come to life.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like that's how I felt. Like it definitely was a Daredevil comic book come to life. Like it didn't feel like it deviated away from the comics. It felt like it was an actual, a true presentation of what a comic book come to life would be like. But yeah, I feel like it's a solid first season.
And he's such a great character that if they ever want to just bring him into any of the other Marvel films, he's
They
gonna
could
fit
so
so
do it.
well. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, they could so do it.
easily. I mean, I would
could so
love
do
to
it.
see him in Civil War.
That would be
Have
be
him,
awesome
like,
in Civil War.
Even have him like with Captain America teaming up side by side. They're kicking ass. He got the shield. He's got the baton. They're kicking ass side by side. Or they may have like a little bit of conflict, because I feel like he could hold his own with him
Oh,
as well.
definitely.
Any of those dudes.
And he's gonna upgrade his suit. Like I know people were talking about how like some people liked the final suit, some people didn't like the final suit for Daredevil, but I feel like it's just version 1. Like Marvel is known
Yeah.
for always updating the suits.
Yeah.
Iron Man has a billion mark. They're up to like Mark 50, I think, by now. Captain America is like, this is his 4th version in Avengers 2 that's probably gonna come up. Hawkeye has a new suit. Black Widow made some adjustments to her suit. Like everybody always upgrades their suit.
And the great thing you mentioned about some of those characters and stuff, Black Widow has a lot of ties to this guy, to Daredevil.
Oh.
They team up a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like she she was part of the cast group. She was
Yeah.
part of them. You know what I'm saying? Like she
Oh.
helps out a lot. Like she's almost like a love interest of his.
Yeah.
She runs a lot in that realm. And as far as Hawkeye goes, I mean, I know Daredevil was actually at one point part of Shield in the comic books.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much got like everybody at one point.
And everybody
SHIELD.
becomes an Avenger at one point.
Yeah,
too,
everybody
so.
becomes an Avenger. Like
Yeah.
everybody. That's like that's like you're not a superhero if you're not an Avenger at least one point, even if it's for like one
For
comic book
one
issue,
day, yeah,
you know,
a one
an
time thing.
honorary member or whatnot. But
Yeah.
you gotta be if you want to be like
Which they've kind of alluded to by saying like Avengers is always a changing team, so it's not always, the movie's not always gonna be who we see now. They're always gonna be a changing roster. So
yeah. I mean,
it's
Avengers
great that
goes
they're
ahead and they have a West Coast division.
yeah, and it's great that they're um, putting so much effort into every character, so that way when you do see them in the Avengers, you want to see them in the Avengers. It's not like, oh, Daredevil's in the Avengers now. It's gonna be like, oh, Daredevil's in the Avengers now. Okay, yeah, I want to see that version. So I think it's great. I feel like, you know, Jessica Jones, that series is next, so I feel like it's gonna build up whatever Daredevil did, and you know, this is a great first season. Like for first seasons for a show, I mean, Agents of Shield is a great example of like that's not a good first season.
Nah, it's not.
That's not
yeah.
a good presentation of the Marvel universe. Like it's a very lost. It's a very kind of
It was
just put stuff
important
together,
too, but
just put stuff together and see what we can make of it. Like Daredevil showed, like if you take the time, if you do it the way it's supposed to be, you can have a great first season and not have to force an origin or force characters together. It's like the characters are there. You know, mind you, Agents of Shield. Yes, Agents of Shield is a made-up show, but you could have picked characters based off of characters already in Nick Fury's world. You know, you could have just been like, okay, who's appeared as an Agents of Shield? You know, okay, that character, that character. You know, Mara Hill, Colby Smolder's character. She was straight from the comic books, and her character worked. You know, if Agent Coulson's character worked, it's like, well, what about these characters that worked? And I felt like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was just kind of like, well, let's just make something new rather than let's look at the source material. Daredevil's a perfect example. Is like, if you use what's in the source material and build on that, it's way better. It's way better.
and what I hope what this Daredevil does, and like the next series after that, and all those Netflix series do, I hope that it really inspires Marvel to take some of the other characters, the other movies that they faltered, like they fell to the wayside,
Yeah.
you know, and they like, you know, let's revamp it. Like if we could get somebody good, we could do that. Like Punisher, you know, if they want to throw Punisher in the Daredevil series, them two have been arch enemies for a long time.
Yep.
You know, they don't like each other. They run the same similar circles, but they don't like each other. They could do that, or they could give him his own thing. They could. I would like them to see him redo Ghost Rider, or, you know, or any of these other ones that they kind of like
Punisher would
they
be
dropped
cool.
the ball on. You
And,
know,
and Ghost Rider, yeah, both of those. Both
Think
of those.
about Punisher this style. This is his style right
That's
here.
his style written.
Yeah.
And then some. And,
And
then
then,
some.
then he brings something different to the table, and you're gonna have a hot series equal to this.
That would be an if Punisher was a series, that would be an awesome gritty series. Like if they do it like this, like man, that would be really really good. And I hope that they do that because I know they have the rights. They have the rights to him. I don't think that they should try to do a movie. I think that Punisher would fit well if it was a series to give time to build, just like they build with these characters. Build on the Frank Castle
Yeah.
character. Build on his world and make that, you know, that gritty. You know, because this was Daredevil's Marvel's first MA rated anything. Like there wasn't a rated R. I mean, straight from Marvel Studios. Obviously Blade and Punisher, but that was really through Fox. That was really through something else. Like this is from Marvel, straight from Marvel Studios. This is the first mature rated show or whatever you want to call it, show movie. You know, all that whole universe. So with this being so popular and working, they should definitely work on Punisher and seeing how they can make Punisher into the way it should have been,
Yeah, I
rather
mean,
than, you know, the Thomas Jane, you know, or the other version, you know,
pretty much you film the series like you're filming a movie.
which this definitely
This what
did.
it felt like. It felt like one long movie.
Yeah.
That it kept my interest the whole time.
Yeah,
If they do that with the next series,
yeah,
do that with Luke Cage, they do that with Iron Fist, you're
Mhm.
gonna have like stuff out there that's gonna rival any movie that they're really banking on,
Yep.
and it's gonna succeed over a lot of those films.
Yep.
Because I don't know how Ant-Man's gonna do, you know,
Yeah.
but this did good.
It did good. And especially for all the other Netflix stuff that they're doing, like this had to be good, because if this failed, there's a lot riding on.
Yeah,
on
because like
this.
you know, would you invest to see the next series? Would you do Luke Cage? You know, would you do
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist? And damn, it's like Marvel waited a long time to use Iron Fist, and it would suck if this would have went bad.
And then
Now,
they would have scrapped everything.
I mean, if
else.
this would have did bad, I would not be looking forward to Iron Fist. Now I'm really looking forward to Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And I love that character too. And
I-
I'm like, out of all the characters I wanted to use the most was this one.
Not to mention that then after that, then we get all of them together. Then we get the Defenders. So
Yeah, and now you're gonna have, oh man, like that right there.
it's a good
yeah.
time to be a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Marvel is definitely
Yeah.
doing good. I mean, again, I cannot say how enough that you guys really need to see the series. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely good. It has everything you're looking for. So go check it out. And that's it for our episode of the Daredevil series. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.